TV. I'm your host, Chris Greenough, and in this series we will focus on SMEs within the British manufacturing sector. Every week we discuss and analyse the opportunities and challenges for the industry in these unprecedented times. I've worked in the sector for over 26 years and I'm CCO at SDE Technology, one of the leading manufacturers of pressings and assemblies in the UK. So I hope you can appreciate this show is very much for manufacturers by manufacturers. My guest today is Charlotte Horrobin, Make UK Membership Director, Midlands and East Regions. Charlotte, how are you?
I'm great, thank you, Chris. How are you doing today?
Not too bad, thank you. I hope I got your title right. Make UK Membership Director, Midlands and the East Regions. That's quite a wide region you've got there.
It's a long business card and a quite wide region. So really, it's the border of Wales across to Skegness, and then sort of the Pennines just north of the M25. So the whole of the Midlands, and then that really important part of the east of England as well.
Fantastic. So tell us about Make UK and your role within it.
So Make UK, we're the national body for UK manufacturers. So we represent really proudly about 22,000 manufacturers of all shapes and sizes, from pie manufacturers through to people making parts for fast jets, Formula One through to pharmaceuticals. So a really incredible and vibrant and diverse membership. And then we also partner with about 50 trade associations and regional groups, because I guess we're kind of the mothership for manufacturing. It's our job to work collaboratively and make sure that manufacturing is a really important part of the UK economy and gets what it needs to grow.
So you say, obviously, you've got lots of other membership organisations you work with. I think when I think of Make UK, I think of the lobbying work you do. So it's not just supporting the members, it's actually driving that membership voice down into Westminster.
It is. It's listening to manufacturers from all parts of the country, of all different shapes and sizes. I think people often think that it's just for, grand and glossy names, but actually we listen to every member as a single organisation and make sure that those patterns are, yes, fed into Westminster, but also it's really important that the regional and the local messages are put through as well. But also it's about listening to those manufacturers and helping them to help themselves, connecting like-minded people without fear of competition to, again, grow manufacturing.
And 2020 was obviously a tough year for you, Make UK manufacturing. How did you and the Make UK team support your members through last year and through those tough times they had?
Oh my goodness. March, April last year was absolutely, it was a crazy time. And I think it showed just what a beacon of hope UK manufacturing offered to the UK. Straight away as the call to action for people that can make ventilator parts and PPE, our inboxes, our phone lines were just constantly, ringing and dropping notes in. So we were really busy making sure that we could connect people that could work together to make sure that the right parts of government were listening to these really incredible organisations. And again, making sure that the members' views were heard and making sure that government understood what it was that they really needed to help their businesses survive and actually put them in I suppose, a position to thrive for the future as well.
Because obviously the government came out quite quickly with the furlough scheme. March, April last year, it was very misunderstood. I don't think even government knew quite what they were doing with it. But then there was clarity, and that's really helped secure jobs through the pandemic, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And of course, it takes all sectors to make a really vibrant economy, but we've got to make sure that people understand that a strong place needs a strong manufacturing base, that actually manufacturers invest in a place, they work with their local community, they offer really highly paid jobs on average, the salary's 13% higher than the other sectors in the surrounding area. And then it allows other businesses to flourish when you've got manufacturers in a particular area. So it's really sad to see other parts of the economy struggling, but actually if we lose manufacturers and manufacturing firms, it's very hard to just reopen a factory that's been making, say, aerospace parts. So incredibly important that we keep those really highly skilled and exciting roles employed in the UK economy and make sure that those businesses can stay in our local places.
Absolutely. And the words that are coming out your mouth, manufacturing needs to be supported. I mean, you and I have spoke lots of times about what more we need to do to support UK manufacturing. So 2020, we came out of that. We're still now looking ahead, obviously the vaccine rollout is putting us in a much better position, certainly in the UK, than many other countries around the world. And then, lo and behold, 2021, we're into Brexit. Finally, a number of years to get to this point. So how has business been affected from January? Obviously, we had delays at ports. Things are getting better. Where do you see the future for exports now for UK manufacturing?
I think Q1 this year has been particularly interesting, and I can't sort of sidestep what has been definitely a big issue for our members, managing EU exit, far more than just teething problems, and actually, long-term change for businesses and business models. So we've been supporting our members and making sure that their concerns and pragmatic suggestions again are passed through. Moving forwards, it's interesting though if we try and take the positives of what is quite a negative situation for many. We've got businesses that have been exporting for many years to say Paris, but really it's been like exporting to Peterborough because they've not really had to deal with the rules and regulations. So now that they are having to upskill and invest in export teams, they're now starting to think, well, how do I really use those people in my business and that skill set to grow my business? So again, they're now looking perhaps at new frontiers. We're in fact in 2 days' time talking to Australian businesses. How do we grow the trade relationship between the UK and Australia? So I think it's great that, as always, our resilient manufacturers, they're working through what have been really strong headwinds, but actually they're trying to make the best of what has been a challenging situation.
Because it wasn't just moaning for moaning's sake. There were real problems at the start of the year, and it was business just saying to government, look, we need these things to be solved. We need more resource at the ports, because the amount of paperwork is going to be there for the future, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen all of the tales that you have read in the press, big delays, increasing costs, for some sadly losing revenue overall, and changes between customer and supplier relationships, both from the UK to the EU and vice versa. So yeah, it has been a challenging situation, but I think it's positive to see now that our manufacturers are thinking about the opportunities of the future, green, global and digital.
And do you think we should be doing more of those sort of trade talks and also opening up our minds to further afield? Australia, you mentioned. I mean, the EU is the closest market, so it's easy to export to. But there's lots of other markets around the world, and with the help of Make UK, we need to be looking at those markets, don't we?
Again, it comes back to manufacturing being such an important part of the UK economy. So we probably get a little bit het up and frustrated when folks cite manufacturing is 10% of the UK economy. Well, it's far greater than that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, Chris, with yourself. The sector is responsible for over half of the UK exports, 2/3 of R&D. So really important that we're bringing that true wealth back into the UK economy. And you're quite right, the EU, for good reason, is a really strong trading partner. It's close, we've got very similar cultures. Over the decades, those just-in-time, complex integrated supply chains have developed. But I think actually having a great, strong relationship with our trading partners in Europe then just gives you a platform to create and export goods around the rest of the world.
Fantastic. And currently I see buoyant order books. We had the manufacturing PMI for April at 60.9. So really UK manufacturing is flying, and I see the economy coming back. How do you see the rest of 2021?
Well, it's interesting. So we've been running a quarterly survey, what we call our Manufacturing Outlook, in partnership with BDO. The survey's been running for many years, since 1998. Over the last few quarters, you can imagine the balances have been in the negative territory. But the start of this year, we did see those turn positive, and also really positive indicators for Q2 and the future moving onwards. I guess it's out of the frying pan and into the fire though for some, because the inflationary price rises for raw materials and also the long lead times are really impacting a number of industries. And we've talked about it a lot in the press. Semiconductors, a number of basic metals have been very much featured, but things like timber and fiberglass, lots of raw materials are really in short supply right now, as many of the world's economies start to turn back on.
And what more can the government do? So obviously you mentioned then some materials, some steels are going to be in short supply. but we haven't really got a UK steel manufacturing industry to talk of because we haven't invested in that over a number of years. So is now the time to start looking at the infrastructure, what more we can do as a government and a public body to bring UK manufacturing back to the fore?
Well, we still do have a strong UK steel base here in the UK, and Make UK does house the trade association UK Steel. But I think one thing that we've been keen to do over the last 12 months, and probably for a much longer period of time, the last 12 months has just maybe focused the attention a little bit, is to truly map and understand the UK supply chains that we've got here. I think COVID's taught us that lesson. There are certain supplies that are actually strategically important. You've got to have generic medicines. You need to be able to protect people, to be able to feed people and to keep the energy flowing. So I think we need to understand what we've got here in the UK, to understand actually as we talk about opportunities like net zero, where can the UK become a world leader in future green and digital technologies that make the world a better place, and ultimately how do we make sure that manufacturing is seen as the solution and not the challenge for many of these new issues that we're talking about?
Absolutely, and I think we've really got the chance in UK manufacturing to take the lead on carbon neutral, on green technologies. So I know you feed directly into government. You've got people who speak to the Prime Minister at Bays all the time. Is there any roadmap? Because the industrial strategy that we all fed into has been scrapped. What is the roadmap for UK manufacturing? For example, as a business, I need to invest, and that investment might take 5 to 10 years to pay back. How do I know what to invest in without that industrial strategy?
Well, I think we're probably in the early days of the industrial strategy, of course, dissipating and talking about building back better. And we've got really strong dialogue weekly with government to make sure that views just like your own, Chris, get fed in, and that we can make sure that we've got that long-term vision for the future. And again, making sure that we've got that vibrant economy that relies on a number of different sectors. I think it's really clear to see there are particular themes forming. So net zero and the kind of preparation for COP26 offers a great platform for the UK to show its green credentials. And again, actually, how do we use that as a kind of impetus or a catalyst to get our manufacturing sector evolving, transforming and sort of modernising for the future?
So in terms of the rest of the year 2021, positive outlook from Make UK and from Charlotte Horrobin in particular?
Always positive, Chris, always. As many of our members say, you know, they've throughout COVID-19, throughout EU exit, they've dealt with many global and political disasters over the last, you know, however many years. We've got one member company that I think they're an 8th generation family business. So, you know, they've been through the peaks and the troughs. So always positive.
Fantastic. Charlotte, thank you for your time today. Really good to speak to you, and we'll catch up soon.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of another show. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to meeting more of our SME manufacturers and indeed those involved in the manufacturing sector next week. If you would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or even to appear on a future episode, please email us tv@mtd.media. Thank you, Charlotte. Fantastic to talk to you today. So from me, Chris G at SDE, goodbye.